So, what if there were 10 blood sugar hacks that could help you maintain a good blood glucose level throughout the day? I'm going to share with you 10 that are super easy to incorporate into your daily routine. Hi, my name is Wendy, and I'm a natural nutrition clinical practitioner. And today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 super easy blood sugar hacks so that you can maintain your blood glucose levels on a daily basis. Number one is being sure to incorporate a good amount of vegetables and fruit into your daily menu. So, a lot of people think that the best thing to do is to cut out all kinds of carbs from their diet in order to maintain or get control of their blood glucose levels. And I'm not in support of that. I actually support a whole food plant-based diet. But at any rate, I really support people incorporating fruits and vegetables into their diet daily. And the key is to, before you have a meal, have some vegetables before that meal. So oftentimes when you go to a restaurant, they will serve you a salad just before your meal. And what better thing to do actually to help you manage your blood glucose levels? So when you're at home, this is something that you should do. If you don't have a salad typically before your meal, it would be a good idea to sit down and have maybe just a starter size of salad and or cut up some fresh vegetables like some cucumbers and some carrot sticks. And what this does is the insoluble fiber that is consumed with these vegetables creates like a gelatinous coating on your intestines as you're digesting the food. And it goes down before the rest of your meal, right? So you're having those vegetables first, and they actually help to make a situation in your body where whatever carbs you're going to have with your meal are not immediately just converted to glucose and then spike your blood sugar. Now, it's true that anybody that has any food is going to have a rise in their blood sugar levels, whether they have type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance or they don't. And so that is normal. When we eat, our blood glucose levels rise. But for people that have insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, of course, certain foods can cause a huge spike in your blood sugar levels. So what you're wanting to do, of course, if you have type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance, you want to maintain your blood glucose levels as close to where they should be, so that there's not a huge spike after a meal. So by consuming vegetables just before the meal, that will help to keep your blood glucose levels after the meal from not spiking and then having a crash. Number two, fasting. So sometimes, if I talk about fasting, people are like, oh no, I'm not interested in fasting. It's not something that I want to do. But I'm not talking about something that's super difficult. So fasting for 16 hours a day. Now that sounds crazy, right? Right when I just say it. But what I'm talking about is a period of time where you spend already a good deal of time sleeping. So if you could try and get your daily routine so that you have your meals out of the way by 7 o'clock in the evening and you don't consume any other food whatsoever, no sneaking snacks or anything else from 7 p.m. until 11 a.m. the next day. And then in the morning, when you get up and start your routine, try not to eat anything till 11 o'clock. And that will rid your body, like your body will actually use up of any of the carbs and sugar that you consumed from the meal at dinner time the night before. And, we talk about the word breakfast, which really came about because we're breaking the fast anyway. So we were intended to do that overnight. So doing that on a daily basis will really help you to gain control of your glucose levels. Number three. Now, this one might sound a little bit strange to you, but I want you to completely forget counting calories. So many times when people are trying to lose weight, especially, we get hyper focused on counting your calories. And we want to say that, you're consuming probably between 18, if you're a grown adult, between 1,800 and 2,000 calories a day. And of course, that is completely dependent on what your energy expenditure is through the day. So if you're doing lots of sports and you're working out at the gym, of course, your needs are going to be different. I find it much more important to focus on the types of food that you're eating. Rather than focus or being hyper focused on counting calories, I'd want you to focus for tip number 3 on the types of foods that you're consuming. So nutrient dense foods, whole foods, foods that even do contain some carbs, healthy carbs, foods like whole grains and, brown rice if you're going to have rice, and whole wheat pasta if you're going to have pasta. And of course, we're not consuming big platefuls of these things. And lots of healthy vegetables and fruits. And I guarantee you that tip number 3 will help you gain control of your blood glucose levels and stop you from having a huge spike after your meal. And number 4 is, if you're going to indulge in something like a dessert, yeah, I said dessert. You are allowed to have dessert. Listen, just because you might have type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance doesn't mean that you can't enjoy life any longer. In fact, I remember when I was first diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, I felt like, honestly, it was like a death sentence. I remember going to work feeling almost depressed, I guess you could say, because it was like, well, if there was going to be a birthday cake for somebody in the office, I guess that's out the window. Or if I ever want to have an ice cream, that's out the window. And this is just not true. The thing is, look at like a 90-10% rule. So if 90% of the time you're consuming healthy food, whole foods, whole grains, the 10% or the time that we want to just have a treat, that's okay. You need to be able to enjoy your life. The key here is tip number 4 is to consume anything that you might consume that's sweet or a dessert type thing. So if you're out or you have guests over and you want to have a little bit of dessert, we're not talking about having a giant plate of cake, right? We can still enjoy a slice of cake with everybody else, or a piece of pie, or an ice cream on a hot summer day, something cold to enjoy. But the key is to have it immediately after your meal. The key is not to have it later. So, finish dinner at 5:30 and then 6:30 go on to sit and have a sweet dessert. And the reason is, if you're having it with your meal, you've already, had probably lots of fiber because of my first suggestion, number 1. And so, your body's already working to not absorb too many carbs or sugar from anything that you've had, and to help maintain the blood glucose levels because of the fiber. And then if you're having that dessert at the same time, all of that's working together. But if a period of time goes by and your blood glucose levels begin to go back down after a meal, and then suddenly you decide, oh, I'm going to have a piece of cake now or a bit of ice cream for dessert. Well, what happens, right? Your blood glucose levels go straight back up, and then you end up having a crash from the high blood glucose levels. So try and keep your dessert right at the same time if you're going to indulge once in a while with your meal. Okay, so that's tip number 4. It's better to have your dessert, something sweet, along with the meal rather than in between meals. Tip number 5 is don't consume naked carbs. So many diets and so many people are telling us that we can't consume any carbs. But I think I've always said this, carbs in the last few years have been completely demonized. And we tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater, I guess you could say, because we're saying all carbs are bad. And when we think about it, fruits and vegetables and whole grains and things like that, of course, are carbs. So there is no chance that I'd ever want to throw away fruits and vegetables with all the vitamins and phytonutrients and things that our body needs. What happens is carbs by themselves are just basically like consuming sugar. As soon as you consume that carb, it's going to enter into your bloodstream after the digestion process, and it's going to spike your blood glucose levels. But if you're consuming it with something especially something with fiber and or something with protein, it will actually help your blood glucose levels to be more stable. Of course, they're going to rise a little bit after whatever you eat, but then it won't be a spike and a drop, right? It'll be more of a steady rise and a steady fall. So tip number 6 is not to consume a sweet breakfast. When you start off with a sweet breakfast, what ends up ultimately happening for most people is that throughout the day, you tend to want more sweets, right? You've had, even if you think about when you snack, if you have something sweet, at least this is the case for me, and I think for most people though, is that you have something sweet and that was good. And then it brings on that dopamine, that nice feel good response, and you want some more. You want something else that's sweet. And that's the same as it relates to breakfast. So if we start our day with a sweet breakfast, throughout the day, there's a good chance that we're going to want something sweet. Again, to feel that good response, that good feeling after eating. And quite frankly, depending on what the sweet thing was that you had for breakfast, it may have spiked your blood glucose levels and you feel that crash. And of course, you need something to pick yourself up. If you can try and instead of having a sweet breakfast, to have something that's a little bit more savory for breakfast. So perhaps a nice slice of whole grain toast with some avocado on it. So the typical avocado and toast. I often, I like a tart apple with a bit of nut butter in the morning. And so if you can have something that's not sweet, maybe beans on toast even for breakfast. I know a lot of British people probably appreciate that. Just be careful if you're going to do beans on toast to really watch the can of beans. A lot of them contain copious amounts of sugars, and that can actually help you start your day in a way that you're not feeling like you want to have something sweet, right? For a pick-me-up, a little bit later in the day. So tip number 7 is consuming a little bit of vinegar just before your meal or along with your meal. Studies show that consuming a little bit of vinegar, and this is only a couple of tablespoons, so it's not a whole bunch, but it's actually associated with a 30% reduction in blood glucose spikes after a meal. So if you're able to have a couple of tablespoons of vinegar, and most people prefer an apple cider vinegar, and you can just mix it in some water and drink it before your meal. Now, I tend to not necessarily think that's the best way to do things. And the reason is I try to dissuade people from drinking too much water with their meal. And that is because the acid in your stomach is actually reduced. And we need the stomach acid there to help us digest our food properly. And especially if you're an older individual, some people that are older do struggle with how much stomach acid they have. And so it can be a problem digesting their food. And so if you're going to have a starter salad, like I mentioned back in tip number 1, consider making yourself a little bit of salad dressing using apple cider vinegar. So I use a couple tablespoons of apple cider vinegar or just a little bit more, a little bit of olive oil, and I have like a Greek seasoning that I really enjoy. Wee tiny bit of salt in there, and I mix that up, and 99% of the time that's what I end up having for a salad dressing. So that vinegar that I'm having just before a main meal, and actually quite often most of my main meals are salads. So that is helping to reduce any blood glucose spikes after a meal. And so that's super important. And one thing I'll just add to that is you want to be careful if you're going to try different vinegars. So maybe you don't want to do apple cider vinegar, but maybe you want to try something like a balsamic vinegar. A lot of them have added sugars. So you'll want to be super careful about that. I recently actually bought an apple cider vinegar from the grocery store. My regular brand of apple cider vinegar wasn't available. And so I could only find a different one that was, it looked like it was going to be good. So I tried it and I brought it home. And when I mixed it with the salad dressing or into the salad dressing, I started to notice that it tasted quite sweet. And I was curious to see, I better look at the ingredients. And sure enough, I couldn't believe it, but there was actually added sugar in the apple cider vinegar. So needless to say, you have to be very careful to look at the ingredients and make sure there are no added sugars in whatever vinegar, and especially like balsamic vinegars often have sugar in them. Tip number 8 is to walk after a meal. Walking after a meal will help you use up some of the energy that you've just had from your meal rather than, it going straight into the bloodstream and then you're having the glucose spike. So it is as simple as if you need to take out your dog for a walk for 10 or 15 minutes after you eat, use that time just after your meal to do something like that. It doesn't have to be running, for 15, 20 minutes an hour or anything like that, or crazy going to the gym for 3 hours. This is just a brisk walk for 10 minutes after a meal. And I can almost guarantee you will notice over time, over doing this for a couple of weeks, that your blood glucose spikes after a meal will be greatly reduced, especially if you're incorporating some of these other tips. So, tip number 9 is to ensure that you're drinking enough water. A study in 2011 with about 3,600 people found that those who drank at least 34 ounces, or about 1 liter of water per day, were 21% less likely to develop high blood sugar than those who drank about 16 ounces, or 470 mils or less per day. I actually encourage you to consume about 2 liters of water and spread it out throughout the day. So, start in the morning when you get up, and the first thing that you should have is a glass of water up until around 7 or 8 in the evening. And the thing is that dehydration causes your body to produce a hormone called vasopressin, which encourages your kidneys to retain fluid and stop the body from flushing out excess sugar in your urine. And it also prompts your liver to release more sugar into the blood. So make sure that you're consuming enough water. And tip number 10, you probably have seen a plethora of different types of sugars and different claims of these, things that are organic and better for you and whatnot. Any sugar essentially is going to have pretty much the same effect on your blood glucose. So if you're going to enjoy a little bit of sugar with your meal, like I said before, have your sweets with your meal rather than in between as snacks, and go ahead and enjoy it rather than trying to find all of these gimmicks that are out there and try and experiment with them. The one thing I've always said is that as well, some of the artificial sweeteners are much more dangerous for you in the long run than having a little bit of sugar. Things like sucralose and sucrose and whatnot, and agave syrup and things are surprisingly just absolutely not good for you. And I would rather somebody mix in a little teaspoon of honey into their tea rather than adding some sucralose or sucrose or something like that. So again, you're going to have a little bit of a blood sugar spike, but if you're consuming your sweet with your meal, then it should be fairly limited and not as bad. And so tip number 11, this is a bonus, is that if you are going to be indulging in something sweet with a meal, you may want to consider a supplement called Berberine. Now, I have had amazing results with people that I know and people that I've worked with using Berberine for after their meals. And it is so effective at reducing blood glucose levels after a meal that these people who have been on different types of medications in order to help manage their blood glucose levels have had to reduce their amount of medication while using the Berberine because it is super effective. So those are my 10 tips in helping you to reduce your blood glucose levels throughout the day with your meals, and I hope that they work for you. If you have any other that you've found that have worked for you, please leave a comment in the comment section below, or if you have been incorporating some of these into your daily routine, comment as well below. I'd be interested to hear what is working for you. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and if it has, consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, subscribe for more health and nutrition information. I look forward to seeing you here again at Nature's Path to Wellness, where your journey to lifelong health begins. Take care and see you again soon.